morning and welcome to our 35th year-end fundraising special. I'm Elaine. Years ago, when my children were toddlers, I used to come each year and answer phones for the telethon. My husband Shane and I would joke that it offered me a chance to speak in complete adult sentences every once in a while. It was such a joy to speak with viewers. People were so excited about bringing the latest thing to our valley, and they wanted to be part of the mission. What seems like only yesterday to Shane and me is a very long time ago to our adult children who are hovering around and a little bit over the 30-year mark. They are grown adults with families and careers, and sometimes do their own search for speaking in complete adult sentences. And now, when I sit with my own toddler grandchildren and they navigate through my phone to look at silly videos of kittens and puppies as if it were the most natural thing in the world, I see firsthand how much the world has changed. With change comes challenges. When I joined Blue Mountain Television 3 years ago, we could see those changes coming. So many of the incredible people who founded this ministry 3 decades ago have gone to their rest. And like me, the rest of us have gotten older. In that time, audience viewer habits have changed and the way people consume media has fractured. Just look at the difference. That makes it more difficult to serve our community here in the Valley and beyond. Now, the good news is that we're working diligently on a pivot to meet the needs of the next generations. Our entire team, our board, and many of our constituents are very excited about what God has planned for us next. That doesn't, however, help with the immediate crisis. Our sustaining donor base has collapsed. For a long time, faithful monthly givers sustained this ministry, and year-end gifts gave us a running start on the following year. But that dynamic has shifted. And when I arrived in my new position here, we only had 19 monthly donors. And we were mostly sustained by large unscheduled gifts. These gifts were from projects or from estates and asset sales. And this decline was masked for decades by funds reserved for this facility. Once we purchased the facility and we moved our operations, that challenge became very stark. We praise God every day that so many contributed to this place. There are so many miracles that made it happen, and I know that those who gave generously and dreamed big would be thrilled. The team here has worked diligently to grow both our monthly donors and our current audience. We're seeing viewers growing across all the platforms from YouTube and Bluestream to broadcast, and we have 40 more monthly donors, watchkeepers, who faithfully give $3,977.30 every single month. What a blessing they are. But they can't do it on their own. And that's why the year-end goal for this year is so obvious. We need 350 people to commit to giving an average of $100 a month. And we also need to raise $125,000 in year-end gifts, boosted through the Valley Giving Guide or given directly to BMT, to make it through our next year. Tonight, we're going to talk a little more about the challenges, about how Blue Mountain Television and Bluestream, alongside our local productions, really impact our community, and how your faithful gifts can grow God's kingdom. I'm here with Joe Young. Joe, we've known each other for a long time.
A long time.
A long time. Joe is one of the most important people in my life. He was my biology teacher. If you ever went to Walla Walla Valley Academy, you know the Youngs. And we've bumped into each other over the years because it's a very small valley. But Joe was at our town hall a few weekends ago and told a really important story. And it reminded me how much I admired the relationship that you and your wife, Virginia, had all these years. You guys were a team. You
That's
were
right.
a complete and total team, and it showed to me as a high school student. And there are things I learned from you guys that I use today in my own marriage, and I appreciate that. Sadly, Ginny passed away a few months ago.
July 6th.
Yeah. Tell us
Yeah.
a little bit about what that experience was like for you.
It was the last day of May. Woke up in the morning and said, "Good morning, sweetheart." And there was no response. And I immediately looked over at her, and she was moving her hands around and trying to say something. I said, "What's the matter? Can't you talk?" And then I realized she's having a stroke. So that was on a Friday morning. The EMTs came, got her to the hospital, and she was there for about 7 days. She actually got an infection in the hospital.
Oh.
But what turned things for me really fast was that Sabbath morning, I got a phone call from the hospital. I'd been there all day Friday. I'd been there most of Friday night. I think it was after midnight before I got home on Friday night. So I was in bed Sabbath morning, and the phone rang. And it was the doctor that was looking after Virginia. And he said, "Joe, I've read your medical report, and you request no heroics at the end of life." And I said, "Sir, is that where we are?" He said, "Yes. Her kidneys are shutting down. I give her 2 to 4 weeks." That was a real shock.
Yeah.
That's the first stroke she had, and she wasn't doing well health-wise, but his phone call pulled me around real quick.
Yeah.
Anyway, as we got down to the very end of her life, one thing that Virginia and I always had was music. We watched very little television, I'll be honest with you, but we always had Pandora going.
Yeah.
And we had several albums we'd put together, religious vocal, religious instrumentals. And that was always playing. When I get up in the morning, I turn the music on.
Yeah.
Don't watch the news, it gets me upset.
Yeah.
So we're always listening to music. So when I brought Virginia home, one of the big things was she was in the front room. I put her hospital bed right by a window so she could look out, and had music. The music was right there in the living room, and that was a calming effect because that's what she was used to. Not in a strange place where she didn't know where she was, why she was, who are these people. 2 weeks went by, 3 weeks went by, and 4 weeks went by. I couldn't believe the little heart would keep going that long because now she's gone almost 2 weeks, no food, no water. The only thing I'm giving her is medicine to help the pain and help her be comfortable. They call it comfort care, which is really what we were doing. I thought on the 4th of July she would not make it, but she did. And on Sabbath the next day, Sabbath was the 5th, I put our Sabbath music on. And in the evening, I almost forgot this. I almost missed out on something very special. My son and his wife were there. They came down every weekend to be with me and her. And Joe said, "Aren't you going to put the Blue Mountain Television program on, the family reunion that you like, the singing?" I said, "Oh my goodness, what time is it?" He said, "It's almost 6:30. So I turned the TV on to that. The program came on. I was sitting next to Virginia holding her hand. It's important to say there's been no communication for 5 days, no motion. We turn her, keep her clean, no talk, no indication she's even aware we're there. And each day I'm thinking, well, this is it. So it was Sabbath evening, we're listening to the family reunion. I'm holding her hand. My son's sitting at her feet, and he's rubbing her feet. And Ponder and Harp on the television stood up and started singing the song, "When He Was on the Cross, I Was on His Mind."
There's no one great among us. We're nothing on our own. We make mistakes and often slip, just common flesh and bone. But someday just what I say. I'm of a special kind, for when He was on the cross, I was on His mind.
Virginia and I actually changed that. We used to sing that when it would come on the program, and we would say, "When He was on the cross, you and I were on His mind."
Yes.
So we got us all involved.
Yeah.
Whose glory makes the heavens shine. I'm so unworthy of such mercy. Yet when He was on the cross, I was on His mind. A look of love was on His face.
That music had just started, and I'm holding this little shriveled hand. She hasn't moved in weeks, and my hand starts going up and down. And I say, "Joe, look at my hand. I'm not moving a muscle." "Mom, here's the music that we like." She hears them singing. She's letting us know she's still here. She knows it's Sabbath. In her mind, she's singing the song. If Blue Mountain Television had not had that program, that moment, I'll remember the rest of my life. So important. Never heard her say anything, but that hand was right with the tempo of the song. And as soon as they stopped singing, the hand went down. What's interesting, at almost 24 hours exact later, 7:15 Sunday afternoon, she gave her last breath. And I'll always think back on my hand, Jenny and I singing when He was on the cross. She had it all together. Even with dementia and a stroke that had taken her out, her mind was still focused on what we're looking forward to, for Him to come back soon.
When she opens her eyes, she will see Jesus.
That's the first thing she's going to see.
She's going to see. We're waiting, but for her, it's a blink.
And again, I want to thank Blue Mountain Television, because that moment would not have happened if there wasn't Blue Mountain TV, and we knew about that program every week that we listened to for several years.
Yeah, it was a touchstone for your family.
Oh, a huge one, a huge one.
Every week, especially, as we age and our memories go to, having that repetitive something to see every week is such an important thing for all of us.
That's right.
As we do.
That's right.
Well, I'll tell you what, Joe, it is an honor that we were able to be part of that moment for your family. And,
I thank you, Elaine,
and
for that.
it is God that puts that together.
Yes, ma'am.
It is God that puts
Yes,
that
ma'am.
together. Every time we walk into this office, the team, and it gives me chills. I'm sitting here with chills, but every time we come into this office, we don't know how God will use what we do every day, but that's why we do it. And that's why Ministries like Blue Mountain Television and many others are so important to our lives because they are a connection to Jesus.
Amen.
And to,
Amen.
and to each other.
That's right.
As well. So it's amazing. It is, what a story. What an incredible story. And I miss her.
Oh,
but I
guess how much I miss her.
know. And I only bumped into her in town from time to time. But she was an incredible sparkle of life, and you both are. What an incredible impact you have had on so many of us. And the really good news, and what I'm looking forward to, is the fact that we will all be together again in not that long.
That's right. Instead of 62 years,
Yep.
He's going to help us make it an eternity.
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly. Yeah. So thank you for being here.
Hi, I'm Steve, Vice President of Blue Mountain Broadcasting. We have a fantastic team here. They are creative, compassionate, and Christ-centered. They are dedicated to providing you with a place to grow closer to Jesus and connect with the community. When I drop in, I can feel the joy of working together on God's mission. Wouldn't it be amazing if all of this equipment, all of the time invested, and the expertise of our employees were free to maintain and operate? They are not, though. The only thing we are struggling with here right now is a lack of funds. Yes, we have decisions to make about the future and what direction technology may take us. But if we can work together as a community, we will have the time to solve that problem. As a retiree, I feel the same budget pinch as you do. Groceries, housing, taxes, and utilities are cutting deep into budgets. It's hard to stretch it much further. But if we do this together, each of us contributing what we can, we will be able to continue the mission of providing a place where people can spend time with Jesus, some for the first time. If just 350 people give an average of $100 a month, we will have enough to continue our broadcast mission while we work to pivot into the new media delivery era. Please, don't delay. Whether you choose a significant year-end gift, have your gift boosted through this year's Valley Giving Guide, or commit to faithful monthly gifts, you will contribute to preserving this incredible resource and source for our community. Thank you for your gifts and for your prayers.
Shortly after I started hosting on Hometown, I was in a place of business here in the Walla Walla Valley. The clerk recognized me and asked if I was on that new show. We got to chatting about the episode she had seen, and she shared how she liked the show about Walla Walla. Then she pointed up towards heaven and she whispered, "I like that it has a little of this in the show too." It made me smile. It is such a wonderful reminder that Jesus uses all of us, both in front of and behind the camera, to connect with wonderful people in our community. I've met so many special people who contribute in so many ways in our community, and it's a joy to discover just how much people care for one another. You can see Jesus working in our community and beyond. What we build here at Blue Mountain Broadcasting matters. From conversations and smiles together over the bananas at the grocery store and conversations at the assisted living center and the hospital and beyond, Jesus is using Blue Mountain TV to share his love and hope for all of us.
We're so glad that you are with us tonight. We're doing this fundraiser just a little bit differently. We have come to a crossroads that I'm sure that you have heard about on the grapevine. You may have joined us for our town hall a few weeks ago or for our constituency meeting. And it's really important that we continue to communicate with you about what's happening here, why it's happening here, and how you can make sure that you continue to have access to Blue Mountain Television. So today I am going to start a little conversation here with Linnell Ellis, who is our executive director. She's been around a long time. Most of you know who she is. And she is our visionary and the person that really helps us dial in on what we need to do next. And I also have with me Lowell Mann, and Lowell is our content delivery manager. And I have to say, Lowell, that what you do is so varied that people are not always sure what you do. Can you tell us what you do, basically?
Just about anything and everything, it feels like.
Okay.
Content curation, making sure the building stays in good shape, all of those facilities management, all sorts of stuff.
Right. So you make sure that what we, us employees, those of us who work here, are well taken care of, that we are paid, and we have the tools we need to do our jobs. And then in addition to that, and probably most importantly, you make sure that our viewers can get what they're here for.
Yeah, correct. Making sure everything's going well with the broadcast.
Right. So I've been here for 3 years now as the development and creative director. And we have been doing a lot of things, one of which was getting us all here to this new facility. And that's done.
That is done. That has been a long process, but it is done.
Right. And it is the completion of a dream. And it is a completion of something that Linnell was here from its very inception.
Yeah, this is huge. It's wonderful to be here in our own place.
It is. And sometimes between the beginning of a dream and when the dream comes to fruition, a lot of things change. And when that initial dream is gone, we suddenly have a little bit of a dynamic where, well, what should we do next? What is the most meaningful dream for the future? And that's the crossroads we're at. So my question is today, first of all, Linnell, what are the 3 biggest challenges we're facing right now, right here tonight?
Well, first of all, we're facing a financial challenge. And I don't know that that's really first. That maybe comes on the tails of some other challenges, but that's the one that we notice right away. We're facing a financial challenge because it costs a certain amount of money to keep broadcasting every day. Our community gave so much to the move here to this facility and was so committed to it, have been so committed, and we've done that, and gave generously. But
Incredibly.
Yes, but the month by month, keep the station on the air funds, those watch keepers, those people that contribute something very, very regularly, that's just down. It's down so much. And that's a huge challenge for us. I think that that's related to one of the other challenges, and that is that fewer people watch broadcast television.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're also on streaming and we're also on cable, but fewer and fewer people are using antennas to get their television, and fewer people are even using cable to get their television. And so that's part of I think those 2 things are related. You know, that's part of the challenge.
So that's really an illustration of how we can have a really good product, but it mismatches the way people are beginning and quite rapidly changing how they want to receive that product.
Yes, so many more people are receiving product through large streaming companies.
Correct.
And they're using their smart TVs to do it. And, you know, I mean, I'll just throw out a couple names, but like Netflix or Amazon Prime or, you know, that's where people are going or YouTube TV, or, you know, they're going there to get as their primary source of programming.
Right. So is that true of our older viewers?
Not as true. Not as true of the older viewers, but by older, primarily we're talking about people in their 80s and beyond who are still watching with antenna. Now there are of course a few exceptions to that, but primarily so. Or maybe younger people can get it with antenna, some of them, but they also have other ways that they access content, and so they're not using that as much.
Right. So there are more ways to get the same entertainment, not entertainment in our case, but the same programming.
And also, I think the third challenge, I might even have 4, but a third challenge very, very closely related to that is that because of the way technology has changed, we have access to so many different sources of content. It's absolutely huge across the whole internet. And so it's much harder to actually get the attention of people for what it is that you have to offer.
A whole lot easier when you only have 5 stations in a location.
We just all have a lot of choices, and we're used to being able to do those things on demand.
Whenever we want them.
Yeah, it's like, okay, well maybe, it's midnight and I can't sleep, and I know right where I can find what I want to watch, or anything that I'm wanting to see, I can watch it at my convenience.
My husband and I joke a little bit about this because in our own life, I will clean the kitchen or something and I will turn on 1980s Wheel of Fortune because that's back when prices made sense to me, right? And so there's a lot of that going on. Lowell, tell me a little bit about what it is that you see as the main challenges that we're facing right now.
I'll just echo everything Linnell said and just move on. But financially, we need to keep this ministry going. Okay. And the way that people are getting their content, the broadcast industry is changing so much since we started back in 1990. We're just not sure what the future looks like. On demand certainly feels like it's a part of the picture. And so we have to figure out what's next in the industry. And as we look at what the FCC is going to bring down as far as broadcast, we're not sure but they're probably going to be changing a whole bunch of stuff, and we have to decide, is that really viable for us to continue to
Very good, Lowell. That was my fourth one.
Yeah. So the question right now is, are we viable for the future? And what is next for this ministry? What do we need to give us time to find out what God has for us next? In our next segment, we'll discuss that a little bit and discuss how you have helped us with that project so far and how we would like you to continue to help us with that project.
I've been blessed to be part of Blue Mountain Broadcasting for many years, 35 to be exact. As one of the hometown hosts, I get to explore and talk with incredible people who are contributing to this wonderful community of Walla Walla and share these people and stories with you. I also get to share some fun things I see and what Jesus has done for me in just a minute with Julie. For decades, Blue Mountain TV has been an essential part of our lives and a way for all of us to get closer to Jesus and to our community. I love the station and our community and the richness it has brought to my life. As a Julie, one of my favorite things is hearing feedback from people who are watching Blue Mountain TV and hometown. It's fun to hear from many of you at the post office or grocery store. Thank you for watching, and each time you see me on TV, just picture me waving at you and saying hi. I know the station brings joy and connection to your life as it does to mine. And for many of you, you appreciate the words of hope you hear on the station and the company it gives you. That's why we are all digging deeply this year to keep Blue Mountain Broadcasting on the air in 2026. As the world changes around us, we still need this local TV station to connect us. If you haven't become a monthly donor, this is the time. Your monthly gift of $25.50 or $100 or more provides viewers just like you and me with a place to learn more about Jesus and our community. Some are learning about Jesus' love for the first time. God will bless and increase the impact of any gift, no matter the size, that fits your budget. And together we will make our hometown a thriving, supportive place to connect with each other and share the incredible blessings Jesus does for us every day. Thank you.
A couple of weeks ago, I received a note from a viewer asking, why don't the churches in our valley make giving to BMT part of their budget? Well, I don't have an answer for that other than that years ago, they decided not to. But it reminded all of us here that sometimes we forget that things might be different 35 years after we asked the first time. In response, we are preparing to meet with the pastors to discuss their budget limitations, how they might remind their members of Blue Mountain Television's importance to many in their church family, and ways to encourage them to support Blue Mountain Television. This note was a gentle reminder of why we must hear from you regularly. It's easy to lose sight of the forest for the trees. We love to learn about new programming you enjoy, ways people enjoy contributing, and how we can all work together to pay for this incredible community resource. Our November 8 Town Hall was the first of many opportunities to come. Here are just a few things that we learned at our inaugural annual Town Hall meeting.
So a few weeks ago, the three of us had the opportunity to have a town hall, and it was a wonderful experience. We got a lot of terrific feedback, and we're so happy for that. I think the thing that amazed me is how many people came out.
Yes,
it was very well attended.
Very well attended, and it means a lot to us because sometimes we work sort of in this silo where we're not exactly sure what we're doing, if it matters to anyone. But we wanted to address some things and talk about some of the great feedback we got and encourage you to continue giving us feedback. One thing that really struck me is that I had a call from a viewer or from someone who had attended it that said, you know, the one thing that we haven't asked for is for every single person in this valley to pray about this. And I think that is really important. And what Gordon said in that phone call is one of the reasons why we've called this a season of prayer. We would really, really love for you to reach out to your neighbors, to your friends, to the people you know at church, and to pray for this ministry and for our future, to help us know the path that God has for us. Is this the beginning of something new? Do we stay the course? Is this what the community needs? Or is it time for us all to pivot into new ministries in another way and to let this one just go to its rest? So those are all options. And we, as human beings, we all have our own little pieces of that we don't want this to end. But we also know that what we are doing right now is not sustainable. But I'd like to talk to you a little bit, and Linnell and Lowell will help me, about what we learned from the community. So what sticks out for you, Lowell, as far as something that somebody gave some feedback to you that's really made a difference in how you're thinking about things?
I would say the number one thing is, number one, how many people were there. So it was well attended, and there was lots of positive people that are wanting this ministry to continue.
Yes.
That's one of the biggest things that I took away from the meeting.
Me too.
Is that
Yeah.
people are there, they're engaged, and they want this ministry to continue.
Amen.
That is right there at the top.
Yes, it really is. And I think sometimes we forget about how many people can't be at the town halls, can't see the meetings we have, aren't necessarily watching every hour of every day. And Linnell, what are some of those challenges we've had, and how did this help us look at some potential solutions?
Oh, I think it really helped a lot, because I was literally wondering if anybody cared. I know there are a few people, but I was wondering if anybody really cared that much, whether this sustains. And I agree with Lowell that there was definitely a message. I think it was a realistic group of people who were like, we do have to pivot. We do have to change the way we deliver the content to people, knowing that we cannot probably sustain just broadcast, as our primary thing indefinitely, that we're going to have to look at ways that we can reach people with some of the newer technologies.
Right.
But that was very, very positive about the ministry itself and how much the content that we are sharing here does matter to people and does minister to them. One of the things that was pointed out was that the heartbreak that we are all having over not being able to reach people in the prison anymore, or in some of the long-term care facilities or the hospital, due to technological changes. And I think everyone at the town hall and all of us here, feel that is a challenge we want to face and meet and figure out. Like,
And-
how can we solve
And
that one?
We got some positive feedback from some people that are working with prison ministries
Yes.
of how
We
can-
might work on
might
that.
be able to
Yes.
work on that. So that was really
That was
big.
valuable.
That was very big.
valuable.
And the morning of the whole thing, we got some feedback from somebody who said, hey, what about putting your stuff on our tower? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So one of the things we've been looking at doing is we've got property on Electric Avenue, and it's got the tower. That's where Channel 28 is broadcasted from, and it's an asset. And we figured, to help with the financial crisis, we might need to sell that property.
Use it to fund the pivot.
To
really.
use it to
Yes.
fund the pivot, and in the meantime, Channel 28 would just have to go offline. And an individual has stepped forward and say, hey, I've got a tower over not
Near,
too far from
yeah,
there, very near. Why don't you put it on our tower? And then from there, now that whole tower and property is free, and we don't have anything tied to it, and we still continue with Channel 28.
Which is fantastic. That's the way God works when we do this all together and we do this as a community. And I think the amazing thing about sitting there and listening to people's stories, and we ran out of time. People were so excited to give
did.
feedback.
Yeah.
We ran out of time. We felt bad about that, but we just wanted to be mindful of not keeping people there too long.
And I think that we really sense that people want to help in any way they can. I mean, Walla Walla University, we had someone speaking up from there.
They're going to help us with market research, which is essential for our next pivot. But in the meantime, we did ask people at this meeting to step up and become responsible for bringing in $100 a month. So they don't have to do it themselves. They don't have to do it, do the whole
Carmen
100.
just told me this morning that there's an individual, she can give $25 a month, but she's going to find 3 other people to fill out that $100 a month.
And that is the spirit. There was one gentleman who will stick with me for days and days, who actually goes out and also shares about Blue Mountain Television, tells people about what's happening here. And that is the kind of thing, because we don't have a big marketing budget. And so what we have to do is have people like you share the news that this is here, encourage people to put their money where their mouth is. And if this is meaningful to you, crowdsource those funds. It's a very trendy concept, but we're asking you to crowdsource that $100. You personally say, I will be responsible for that. And that's what I think our community can do, which is really important. So after this break, and we do a few other things, we're going to come back and we're going to talk about the personal part of this for Linnell and Lowell. Stay with us. Hi, Leonard Norling, right? Did I say that right?
Correct.
It's so great to have you here with us today. As you know, we're doing a season of prayer, which is our fundraising for the year end here at Blue Mountain Television. Tell us a little bit about your story.
I grew up around Shelton, Washington. I come from a broken home, and I went into the foster care system at the age of 11. And I had some tremendous difficulties and made some very poor choices growing up, and which resulted in me ending up in Washington State Penitentiary with a life without the possibility of parole sentence. Along that journey to a troubled life and ultimate residing at the penitentiary, I was introduced to Christ at a young age, but I didn't understand. I wanted to seek that love that I received at that young age again, and I found that while I was in prison. Jesus reached out and tapped me on the shoulder through the volunteers with the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and I had that sense of love, that sense of peace that my heart yearned for. And so I decided that I was going to leave everything else aside, that I was going to chase after and be very selfish and go after that love. And I found that love in Jesus, and I began to read scripture, and I gave my heart over to God, and he slowly changed me to where my past no longer defined me. My sentence of life without the possibility no longer defined me. So I surrendered to him, and I agreed to allow him to have the control that I didn't need it. And my life was overwhelmingly changed, so much to the point that he released me from prison despite having a life without the possibility of parole sentence.
It's amazing what God does. And I think, your story just reminds me so much that sometimes we get into this little thing, well, I need to be better, I need to do this, I need to do that. And what is amazing to me about your story is you said, okay, I'm going to lean into his love, and then it changed you, and look at the outcome.
It changed me, and Jesus used those that were also following him to help me in that change. When I say I surrendered to him, it wasn't just one decision, I was good.
Yeah.
It was a struggle. It was
Yes.
a learning curve.
Yep.
But the greatest thing about it was Jesus always met me with compassion, with patience. He did it through the 7-day volunteers. And when COVID stopped them from coming in, it dramatically impacted me as well as many others that worship Jesus and celebrate Jesus up at the penitentiary. And so we tuned in to the Blue Mountain TV to watch sermons, to watch the volunteers, watch other people that we didn't even know were Seventh-day Adventists that were going to church at the Village Church. And so we were able to continue to, in our own way, attend church through the TV. And it really helped me during the COVID and helped others.
Yep. It had that connection. You still were able to have that connection with the people who were experiencing the similar journey that you were experiencing, but in a different place.
Correct. And, Jesus has led me and actually blessed me to be a part of the Walla Walla Valley community here. I live in College Place and have for over 4 years now since he let me out of prison. But the truth is, Jesus released me from the prison that Satan had encapsulated my heart in while I was incarcerated. My freedom came before the governor granted a commutation.
Yes.
Before I was actually released from the confinements of prison, my heart was freed in there.
Yes.
And that's what I'm hoping that the viewers of this show and people that hear those that believe in Jesus can hear and seek after their own freedom or whatever is holding them back.
Yes, because sin is the prison.
The prison isn't defined by bars and bricks.
Yes.
It can be of the heart and of the mind.
Yeah. Yes. Of the spirit that God has in us, that we just need to break out of that and let Jesus bring down those walls so that we can connect. That is, your story is just so profound and so amazing, and that this organization had a little part in that, was a tool that Jesus could use directly, especially during COVID, when you couldn't have contact with real people who were believers and Seventh-day Adventists as well. That it just had some part in that. It makes what I do every day so amazing, and I just feel so honored to be part of that. What do you think we can do here when we're in the prison? What kinds of things could we do on Blue Mountain Television that would help people who are searching for exactly that same freedom?
I don't want people to be limited to just thinking about prison when they hear my story, because we're all dealing with the prison of living in a sinful world.
Yes.
So
Amen.
as long as we're producing the love of Christ in our life,
Yep.
whether it be through Blue Mountain Television or personally in our lives as we go out to work in the community,
Yes.
or we rub shoulders with people at Walmart, that's what we need to do.
Exactly.
We need to put Jesus out there, and it's always going to bring about success, whether it's Blue Mountain Television or my construction business or my personal life or me trying to mentor my nephew.
Yeah, absolutely.
If we put Jesus first, we study the Word, and open our heart and deny ourselves,
Yes.
we're going to succeed. Because even when we fail, and getting a life without the possibility of parole sentence at the age of 22 under the 3 strikes law, that is failure according to the world's standards.
Yes.
But here's Jesus saying, no, you are not destined to live and then die in prison.
Right.
You're destined for something far greater. And let me tell you, I'm not worthy. But Jesus died on the cross
Mm-hmm.
and said, yes, Leonard, you are worthy.
Mm-hmm.
Truth be told,
Mm-hmm.
I might have said I wanted out of prison,
Mm-hmm.
but in my heart,
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't really trying to get out. I accepted my fate. I was responsible. I committed some sins against other people that deserved the sentence according to the state of Washington.
Mm-hmm.
But Jesus said no. So if we put Jesus first, anything's possible. He freed me of my past and the troubles of my heart and mind, and then he freed me from the prison. So if he can do that for me, he can do that for anybody that puts Jesus first.
Yeah, yeah. And that is the whole core message of why we are here, what he has for us, and moreover, the purpose of everything we do, every breath we take every day is to share our story just like you do. Whatever our story is.
Surrendering to Jesus isn't going to be easy.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be struggles, but he's always going to pick you up if you fall.
Yep.
He's never going to say, hey, no, you
That's
didn't do
it. This
right.
time it's over.
He's never going to quit.
Mm-hmm.
And people in this world quit. Whether, however you want to see it, you're always going to get somebody that says, oh, enough is enough.
Yeah.
Jesus never did that. In fact, he would die on the cross again and again for each one of us.
Powerful. Thank you so much for being here today. I hope you will not be a stranger to Blue Mountain Television, because you have an incredible way of explaining the gospel. What a joy it's been to have you here today. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Praise Jesus.
Amen. Amen. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Linnell. I want you to know that your prayers for this ministry, your support means so much. Not just to me, but to our viewers. We hear from people every day who rely on BMT as their lifeline to the community. I'm also keenly aware that these are uncertain times financially for most of us. And BMT is no different. The last months of this year have further underscored the importance of engaged viewers and monthly donors. We are blessed by gifts from many of our longtime donors, our watchkeepers, who give every month. But they cannot keep us on the air by themselves, and this year we are struggling to stay on the air. If Blue Mountain Television is important to you or someone you love, please become a watchkeeper right now. Your monthly gift helps ensure our community has a place to connect with Jesus, no matter where they are physically or spiritually. Thank you for your faithful financial commitment to building God's kingdom.
As we pivot into preparing our organization to meet the needs of a changing media landscape, I want to share the three things that are most important to Blue Mountain Broadcasting. First, how can we honor our core mission of providing a place for people to spend time with Jesus, strengthen their relationship with Him, and connect with a community on that same journey? Second, how can we honor the many donors, past and present, who have built this ministry and stay true to this mission? And finally, how can we use the digital tools that are being developed to meet the needs and interests of people of all ages and walks? This is what the board is passionate about. This is what our executive team is committed to. And this is what inspires and energizes our entire team.
So I'm the newbie of this group. I've been here, I helped years and years ago during telethons, and I also did some consulting for this organization a few years ago. But I've been here, I'm just starting my 4th year here, and it's been a real blessing. And the thing that keeps me engaged in this is that the original mission of this organization was to build community. I did not intend to live in Walla Walla my whole life, and yet I have been so blessed by being part of this community. And this is one way I can serve this community and help this community face what is a really interesting demographic change. I am very passionate about bringing more young people into leadership roles in our country, in our town, and in our church. And that starts with media. So that is something that I have a feeling that I share with these two people, but it keeps me engaged in what's happening here. And what I don't ask, what do we have to do? I ask, what can we do to make that change? And we try things and they don't work, and we try another thing and they don't work, and sometimes that gets discouraging. But God has a plan. So the trick is finding the plan. So that's what keeps me engaged. How about you, Linnell?
I think it goes back to why I wanted to work with Blue Mountain Broadcasting from the very beginning. This was my first job out of college, and at that moment, I was praying as I was getting my degree in mass media, communication, and I loved filmmaking of all kinds. And I just remember specifically praying, I don't want to just go make commercials or something like that. Right. I want to do something that really matters for God's kingdom with these skills I now have. Yes. And that is exactly the same way I feel today. I'm teaching over at the university, teaching young people how to do this thing, and I wouldn't care a bit about doing that if it wasn't for that we can all do something really, really great with it. We can do something for God's kingdom. We can do something to make the world better with these visual media skills.
We can be builders.
We can. And media is gargantuanly influential.
Huge.
So I feel the same working here now, that this is a way to have an influence for good in the world, to do something for God's kingdom. And that is what motivates me.
Yeah, it underlies everything about our mission here, is that this is a skill God gave us, each of us.
Yes.
And it is often not seen as the primary one or the most important one. I remember my whole life it's been that way. And yet it is so influential. So you were an influence bearer before influencers were cool.
There you go.
Lowell,
Yes.
How about you?
Well, like Linnell, this is my first job out of college as well.
Yeah.
I went to Andrews University, got a degree in digital multimedia. And I've always wanted to work in something where we build God's kingdom. And that's what I see here. It always warms my heart to hear all the stories of people's lives that are changed by the programming that we provide. You see the people that are being baptized at the church based on some of the connections they've had with Blue Mountain Television, and that's what gets me excited. And whether that's a program that we produce, like Daily Bread, or anything locally, or even something from Amazing Facts or It Is Written, bringing all that together and seeing lives change, curating it is a huge part of why I do what I do.
It's amazing, and I think that curating part and that content part that you are each so passionate about is going to continue to be part of the plan for Blue Mountain Broadcasting.
Yes.
I think all of us, if you had asked us 10 or 15 years ago if this is where we'd be now, I think we'd all be a little surprised. And yet here we are, and perhaps we are here for just a time as this. This is a purpose. God brought us together for this time, and I can't wait to see what He has next. But we want to hear from you too. Through email, we have the email address on our screen, and we just want you to think about what drives you to support this broadcast. What drives you to be part of this mission? Please email me. Please email Lowell and Linnell. Let us know why this matters, because that is part of our pivot for the future. We really want to continue to have this conversation, and you will see that in the days going forward. So thank you for being here with the three of us today and tonight. And remember, your gifts are going to make a big difference to whether or not this ministry can continue to pivot into what I think is going to be an amazing future. Every day that I'm part of Blue Mountain Television, I think of that little boy who gave 5 loaves and 2 fish to Jesus. Our budget for what we do is really tiny by organizational standards. There are only 3 of us, and there are so many wonderful things that could be done. But we give our small budget and our limited time to Jesus, and he has been doing incredible things. I am awed to hear how he multiplied a connection to BMT that changed Leonard's life, and in turn, he is changing the lives of people he comes in contact with every day. I am stunned at how he multiplied the meaning of a tiny moment on a BMT show to give Joe and Ginny a precious moment of connection at the end of their earthly journey together, and punctuated it with the promise of an eternity with him. The same is true with your gifts during the year-end fundraiser. Now, we say we need 350 people to commit to giving an average of $100 a month. But that's an average. It's a way to quantify an amount. The truth is, what matters is we want you to take responsibility to contribute your loaves and fishes so that God can multiply them for his glory. I'm so humbled to be part of this. Will you join me in providing people with a place to connect with Jesus, a place to uplift the lives of our friends, of our neighbors, of our mentors, and of the strangers that are within our gates? In this season, we ask you to pray for BMT, for now and in the future. And together, we can keep this beloved ministry vibrant and accessible. Thank you for your faithful and generous support.